Our server has a kill count, and because of that, they needed command blocks, which are right underneath spawn. In today's video, I'm going to be trying to break into this command room. There is a little setback for this plan, however. I cannot place blocks in the spawn area, not being an operator. So I'm going to have to find a way to get a blast resistant block over spawn without placing it. So to counteract that, I used ancient debris. There was also a couple other hiccups, but they weren't too hard to iron out. So it took me a minute to remember that you can push ancient debris with a piston, because normally people use obsidian, but obviously I'm not able to place any blocks. And then the next thing was figuring out how to make sure the piston would be powered, because you can't push redstone torches either, or levers. And most designs use redstone dust with a lever to activate the TNT, but if I were to use a piston to push the TNT all the way to where it was supposed to be, then I wouldn't be able to do as many repetitions. So that's why I came up and looked for a design for a TnT launcher. Link will be in the description. And then it launches it to where it needs to go about 30 blocks, and then it breaks the piston and the redstone block, allowing you to place the piston and destroy the block underneath. So the first thing I did after spawning in, instead of rushing to the village like everyone else, was to mine down a tree and go explore the nearby ocean to collect different resources. And then I was going to need a place for all my stuff, so I made a little base of operations that wasn't too easy to see from the surface. With a little base secure, I went mining and gathered resources. Unfortunately, it was about 12 at night, so I had to get off for the day. Next day, I realized I probably needed a better base, so I moved all my stuff in and got a villager setup going. But I needed to go back to spawn and check to make sure the pistons would even fire onto the unbreakable plot. And sure enough, they did. This is great news. I didn't know whether or not this would have been able to work. Next, I tested the TNT cannon to double check that it was working, and it landed exactly where I needed it to. Perfect. And while working on this, another new player joined, and seeing as I didn't have any teammates, he asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, you know what, that'd be nice. So I geared him up. It's the armor. Oh, where you at? Oh, down here? Alright. You can rename it if you want.
Yo! This is fully maxed out.
I told you, bro, I told you. And then I went back to working on the bedrock breaker. In order to make this work, I was going to need a lot of pistons and several redstone blocks to push the pistons past each other, because it was more than 12 blocks, the limit of what pistons can push. But if I were to place a redstone block next to it, it would extend, and then I could push them back and forth, making them go even further. Of course, I need to alternate which one I am pushing. So I started on it, meticulously placing the blocks back and forth, trying to plan out where the redstone blocks were going to need to go to extend the pistons. I also needed trapdoors down so I could get underneath the block in order to place the piston. And after all that work, I finally got the piston onto the bedrock, and now was the time for the ancient debris. So after a little bit more struggling, it was finally overtopped the piston. So I moved the TNT cannon a block closer so that it would be able to reach on top of the bedrock. And now was my moment. Soon there would be another player coming back to spawn, so I had to do it quick. But in the last moments, I was not prepared, it being 1:20 a.m. at the time. I failed. After this, a player came by, and being an operator, he mined ancient debris, so I wasn't able to get another chance.